Hey! Welcome back to another episode of Radio 22's Talk 22, the show hosted by me, your boy Mizzle to the Jizzle. We back once again, giving you the conversations that you want to talk about, and we bring to you with nothing but the real. We appreciate y'all coming back, listening to the episode that we talked last week a lot about the political results from the election. You know, some people happy about it, some people not, some people dancing in the street. But at the same time, it is what it is. At this time, I think the president still hasn't conceded the election, so hopefully it is over. But I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see. But at this point, we got to move on, and we're gonna come with you with some more conversations. But with this conversation, um, as I was looking at those election results and whatnot from the week prior, I was noticing that one of the hot topics that they had on the ballot in many communities was whether or not they should legalize uh, cannabis. And in many communities, as I was just noticing, I was just like, wow. And a lot of these communities, they're all saying they're for it. But at the same time, they're for it, the federal government still has it as a legal substance. So I guess my question to that is, what are if this is where we're going, then why would that be? So I think we should just dive more into that and talk more about that. And I guess I want to bring to you some of the members of the panel that I brought to you today to help me discuss this. I got a few of my heavy hitters once again, like I always do. Out of the Chicago, Illinois area, I got the homie.
So, like, even with I tried.
Dave, can you say what's up to the people?
Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? Been a long time.
I can try on my phone or on my iPad.
Happy to be here, man. Out of Chicago, you know what I'm saying? You guys go way back. But what I'm involved in right now is, a little bit of this cannabis industry. Has some past in music, sales, customer service, you name it. Did it all. Investing and things of this nature. So appreciate you inviting me onto the show. Look forward to speaking about this topic and just giving my 2 cents on, the Mary Jane.
That's what's up. We appreciate you for coming through, Spades. A friend of the show as well. So also on the line, we got the homie Tone out of the Beloit area. Tone, can you say what's up to the people?
What's up, people? This is Tone, independent graphic designer, creator of apparel. It's all around pretty much a pothead. And so I feel very well versed on being able to contribute to this panel discussion. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, we appreciate you coming through. We also hope to hear from you as well at home. Feel free to leave your chat in the chat line and leave your comments there, and it might appear here on the show as well. So feel free to leave your comments as we go along. But we're gonna just dive right into it if we can. And I'm going to start off with the homie Tone. I want to ask, when we look at it, like I said, we're looking at the election polls in many the states, communities in the different areas. It seems like most of America is down with the legalization of marijuana. So, that's just my take on it. But if we look at that, and I want to know, why is marijuana not still decriminalized throughout the United States yet?
Well, because a lot of old reefer madness, paranoid, marijuana is a gateway drug to everything bad out there still. And that but the generations now and the younger generations and even there's a lot of push. A lot of people see it as, medicinal, and And there's been, when it's compared to alcohol, people say, well, if everybody's going to be using it, we might as well tax it the same.
Yeah, true enough. True enough. I mean, as in a lot of communities, they look at it and it's been used as a heavy profit margin tax and different stuff like that. Like you look in the state of Colorado. Uh, I want to ask you, Spades. I want to ask you the same question. Uh, if most Americans are okay with the use of marijuana, why is marijuana still not decriminalized throughout the United States yet?
It's based on what America's been founded on, which is racism. So it all goes back to just keeping down in the system black and brown people. So it's created such a negative stigma, and it comes down to money. I mean, we have these pharmaceutical companies now that are just making billions and billions of dollars. You can't regulate weed because it's a plant that you could just grow. Everything else that we consume is usually manufactured from some original plant or some type of source that has to be manufactured that these companies can only do. So with marijuana, put that negative stigma from back in the 20s and 30s on black and brown people, and it's all part of a system. So as far as criminalization and all that other stuff. So
Okay.
I think the reason why now it's just not decriminalized yet is just because it works for the prison system to keep, oppressed people in jail for money. And it just the lobbyists and politicians that got their monies tied into big corporations, especially pharmaceutical, that's going to make a difference as well. So,
Okay. We're talking about marijuana. I want to welcome to the show performer and singer Ludmilla, also on the program. We want to thank you for coming to the show. You say hello to the people, please.
For sure. Hello, hello. I am Ludmilla Muse. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming to the show. You got to check out her latest single, For My Homies.
Yeah.
You got to check that out as well online. I think a lot of y'all will be quite impressed.
For sure.
I want to get back into the program and ask you the same question, Ludmilla.
Okay.
I want to ask, we look at what happened with the election this past month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we see that on the polls, a lot of times they had questions in many communities about whether or not marijuana should be legalized in many of these states and communities. And it seemed like most of those areas were good with it being legalized. So I guess my question is, if most of America is okay with it, why is marijuana still not decriminalized throughout the United States yet, in your opinion?
That's a great question. Now marijuana is such a big business. I just moved from LA at the beginning of this year. So I moved to LA at the end of 2017, just as California was becoming legal for recreational use. And then I moved back to Illinois just as Illinois was becoming legal for recreational use. So I moved at the right time for both of these states. But I think, in my opinion, it's definitely due to funding. It's a money game. It's all about the money. And, as long as you can keep individuals incarcerated for a plant, and you have cheap labor, why would we decriminalize? Why would we? If we can get labor out of, basically slave labor, for cheap or for no money at all, then yeah, it's a big business. So a lot of people are going to benefit off of the funding, off of the tax. Look what happened in Illinois with the licenses that came out. That was horrific in itself. But a lot of these people, it's better for them, in my opinion, to have that money allocated for themselves for whatever reason than to spread the wealth to people who actually need medication, who need the plant, who need the benefits that it can cause. So it's so many reasons. I mean, I have so many opinions about this, but that's really one of my opinions about it, is that it's cheaper to keep her.
Right.
So yeah,
most definitely. Okay, so I'm gonna stay with you on the next follow-up question I want to ask, and it seems like it kind of goes along with what you just stated, but do you think the decriminalization of cannabis in U.S. is just a form of racism?
absolutely. If you can keep these people, again, incarcerated, there are so many brothers and sisters who are in jail for marijuana. And a lot of those charges are like, so, in my opinion, so minuscule. Like, there are murderers who walk free, who have less time than people who are, have narcotics. And marijuana is not, a narcotic. It's a plant. So there are so many people who are behind bars for a natural substance. I'm vegan. I've been vegan for 16 years. So I can't even imagine, spending time for something that grows in the earth. And it's not fair to those people who, they may have made a mistake. They were selling nickel and dime bags or whatever, got caught with some pounds or whatever. But, to continually keep them incarcerated for something that, I just think it's silly. Like, let these people go.
Kind of criminal in itself, right?
It is. It really is. It's definitely, it is.
Okay. Tone, I'm going to go to you with the same question. I want to ask from you, we look at it. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons people can look at why marijuana may be still looked as a criminal source, but I guess some will say that they find that it's still a form of racism. Do you find that the criminalization of cannabis in the U.S. is just a form of racism?
I believe so. And then the placing it's being scooped up, and the legal dollars are being scooped up by big corporations, oftentimes white people, and so it's messed up. I live across the border from South Beloit dispensary, where it's legal, but personally, I prefer to shop within the community and keep those dollars there instead of giving them to the dispensary. But am I being part of the problem? Most people, I know people, have gone to, go to jail for weed, but my experience is many of them than other drugs. Is why they're in prison for 13 years unjustly, because people are buying the drugs. That's a whole other conversation. But so yeah, I mean, the race definitely plays a part. And I don't know if I'm doing the right thing by supporting my black friends who sell it. If I'm endangering them, but I'm putting money in their pocket, what do you think?
That's a big question right there. I think it's all part of the collective there. I want to go to Spades Darnell there and ask the same question. When marijuana, I guess, first came into play in the United States, they say it came through a lot of the Hispanic areas and then later into the Black communities. My question to you is, do you feel like that America criminalized it based off, it's just a form of racism?
Yes, definitely. 100%. Like, America was founded on racism and, like I said, the using the labor of others. But yeah, I think it was a plant. I mean, marijuana has been around for centuries. Many different cultures have used it in different forms. Now, when it comes to America, I mean, it was called marijuana for a reason because they wanted it to sound, Spanish, with the Spanish language to make it seem more criminal, and associated with Hispanics and Latinos and things of that nature. And, with black and brown people, with us being pretty much the same, coming from the same place, origin, it was just natural that it just been in our culture. But as far as America, it's a money thing. Like Ludmila said, it's you keeping certain people in prison. What I've been saying for years is that until the government finds out a way to get paid for it, all those negative ads about how marijuana is bad, as soon as they find a way to make money, all of a sudden new studies come out and show that it's, it's actually not as bad as what we've been saying for hundreds of years. And now it's just putting people in a position of making money. It's just like with prohibition, with the Italians, Irish, Polish, those days when it was illegal, but, different cultures were doing it because, it was a form of money, but it wasn't really hurting anybody like that. It was just a time where people were depressed. It was a form of medicine, a form of just getting away from life. And now you see in those cultures, they run in the alcohol industry, Italians, Germans, Polish, things of that, Eastern European, from things that were happening in the 1800s in America. So now it's a form where it's going to be a shift of wealth. And instead of black and brown people taking advantage of it or being able, or should, for maybe a form of reparations, it goes back into the same system as where, corporate or white males are leading the expansion or get heads first in this, and which is obviously unfair, but it just goes back to the systemic racism. Somebody has to be at the bottom, somebody has to be at the top in order for things to run. If things were to shift, people at the top were at the bottom, they wouldn't like it. And if the bottom at the top got a chance to go, it would just throw things in a whole a whirlwind. So, but yeah, racism.
I just wanted to say something. Just jump
in
real quick. When I was in LA, I saw a commercial for, I think it was like a CBD commercial or TH. I can't remember what the commercial was for, but I'm like, wow, they are advertising marijuana, like cannabis, on TV now. Like, okay. So when I saw that commercial, I was like, okay, I seen commercials for it, and I think it was like for like pain. It was like a something for pain, like pain related. And I'm just thinking, wow, everybody's on this train now, but there's so many brothers and sisters who are in jail behind this. Like, it didn't make sense to me, like you guys can promote this on television. And mind you, the people in the commercial were Caucasian. They were white people right. in pain. They were white people in pain. And I'm just like, but there are so many brothers and sisters who are in pain behind bars for, like I said, for nickel and dime bags or for whatever, for their drug empire of marijuana. So right. I just wanted to make sure I jumped that in because now they advertise it. So like, it's crazy.
Yeah, people forget how like it was so negative, and now solving is just like people. America has a short-term memory. America has a short-term memory. Just a lot of other places embrace their history, good or bad, and try to make right of it to make it it's just fair. But not in America. The way the system is set up, and how the government, that's just how it is. It's systemic. I don't want to sound like one of those, against America. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying, but. It is what it is, and you have to address it. And the sooner that you face the problem or admit that it is a problem, the sooner you can get to a solution, and to make things better,
Absolutely. All right. So I want to get to the next question. I guess you just touched on it a little bit, Spades. I'm gonna go back to you. You talked about it being a source of medicine and whatnot. I want to believe, do you believe that the legalization of cannabis could lessen the use of painkillers and dependencies in this country? I mean, we've seen so many people die of these opiate needs and whatnot. And they say a lot of the sources for pain killing could be used through the use of cannabis. Do you believe that this is something that could take place in America, that this could lessen the use of those opioids?
Oh yes, and these companies know it. That's why they don't want you to use it, because it'll cut into their profits. It's kind of like if you've been trying to scam Americans or something for so long, and there's a chance that your secret comes out, you're gonna do whatever it takes to keep it or to continue making money. A lot of these companies know about marijuana. They go to foreign lands or different places and get the source to make these drugs. And since marijuana has been around for centuries, different cultures know about it. These companies know what it's capable of. But the fact of the matter is, when in the 80s, when crack cocaine was released in the black and brown neighborhoods and people were dying and crime, it was just one of those things where, oh, lock them up and this is so bad and things of that nature. But now that opioids are out and they're killing, non-minorities or even more Caucasians, and now it's an epidemic and now it's a problem. So until, I hate to say it, but I think painkillers and these things, it's like when it affects the Caucasian community, that's when people's eyes open up. So unfortunately, I think for painkillers to lose or these pharmaceutical companies to go down, the more deaths that happen in that community, that's when people are really going to be like, we have to do something. We have to change. You know what I mean? Otherwise, more people will be, more desirable people maybe according to them dying, and that's not in the plan. So I think it's just one of those things where, just like oil, if electricity and people realize solar is the way to go, and the earth, using the earth's resources and started destroying it to make money, that's when people will definitely come around. So
Okay. Ludmilla, I want to ask you something similar to that same question. I want to say, I had a friend who dad was dying and was in a hospice situation. And in that situation, he was dying of cancer. And he wanted to help his dad in a situation with stuff that the doctors weren't able
Wait.
to provide.
Hang on one second, because you're kind of like breaking up on my end.
Okay.
Hang on, let me see.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. It's just kind of like real choppy. It's real choppy. Let's see.
It's choppy. It might even be my end. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. So with this friend whose dad was dying of cancer, can you hear me?
I can. It's just breaking up really bad. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if this is like my.
Okay. I'll come back to you.
Okay. I heard
All right.
I heard the part about your friend dying of cancer. And,
Okay.
Okay, wait, there you go.
Okay, you can
There
hear
you
me
are.
better now?
Yes, much. Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
A friend whose dad was dying of cancer and was placed in a hospice, and he wanted to help his dad in a situation where doctors couldn't help him. So he snuck a bowl of marijuana into the hospice.
Okay.
And smoked one with his dad, and his dad did feel quite better,
Okay.
through that situation. And where some might find that that's kind of a crazy situation to be smoking in a hospital. But I want to ask you, do you believe that the legalization of cannabis could lessen the painkiller needs and the abuse that people use these painkillers?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I grew up, my background, I'm Haitian. And I'm first generation American. So of course, all of the women in our family are nurses, right?
Okay.
So I grew up with nothing but drugs in the house. We always had drugs in the house. And my father is also a physician. My father's a psychiatrist. So my family being Haitian, they look at marijuana as like, oh my God, oh, you smoking marijuana, oh, you smoking weed. It's like a bad thing, it's a bad thing. But here's the thing. We have dope in the house. We got aspirin, Tylenol, you name it, we had it. We had stuff for if you're like and still now to this day, my mother has tons of drugs in the house. And so I grew up in the background of having unnatural drugs, or medicine
Right.
that's not from the earth, because that is what my family grew up, believing, and believing that marijuana was bad, or any other natural substance was bad. So I think, in my opinion, I've been vegan for 16 years. I am, a Caribbean girl. So I'm like rooted in like nature. I love natural things. I think if those type of drugs uh, could be eliminated, and everybody can go back to source, everyone can go back to nature,
Mm.
eating good foods enriched with high nutrients and all of those things, and if you have a little bit of pain, why can't we use something that's natural from the earth? I joke about, I had a really serious situation that happened to me, and the funny thing is, my mother, being a Haitian woman, she did all of these Haitian remedies for me, right?
Okay.
So, I'm thinking, okay, and it didn't dawn into me years later, but that's something that's in her culture. And it was a natural thing what she did for me. She used nature to heal me. So why are we pushing, pills? If you know that your culture is rooted in natural resources, why would you be an advocate for a painkiller, like a drug that's prescribed by a pharmaceutical company whose intention is not to heal, but for you to constantly stay on that kind of medication? Because the drugs are not to heal you, they're for you to stay on that medication. You got high blood pressure, you're going to be on high blood pressure pills for the rest of your life, unless you change your diet. When you change your diet, you change you won't need that, because you can go to natural medication. So when you have people like that, my father prescribes, drugs for children. We're talking children. My father is a child psychiatrist. Adolescents. So you're giving drugs to minors, to people who can't even make decisions on their own, who can't even think about, what this drug may alter in their mind. Marijuana can open up, they're saying it's the gateway drug. It's a gateway to clarity. It's a gateway to the
Okay.
creator. It's a gateway to natural resources. So in my opinion, I think that, if you're going to heal people, why not
Mhm.
heal people naturally?
That's a good
Drugs,
point.
all these prescriptions it's just for the pharmaceutical companies to stay in business and to keep you on that drug.
Okay. All right, Tone, I want to ask you something. Also, I want to ask you something different, though. I want to ask you, do you think that CBD, which is the medical use, I guess, of the marijuana drug, should be viewed differently politically than THC? And when they look to criminalize the drug, many of the communities that have decriminalized the use of medical marijuana has allowed, including Wisconsin, has allowed the use of CBD, but not THC. Do you think that they should be viewed differently politically?
Well, the CBD, from my understanding, does not give people the high sensation, and so I mean, you can buy that at Speedway or gas stations. I mean, you can buy that darn near anywhere right now, which is crazy to me. They got gummies, but yeah, I mean, I guess I think. I mean, see, I think. Can I just say this real quick?
Okay.
We talk about legalization and then decriminalization, and I feel like I would love for marijuana to be treated like a grape. A grape by itself is
Mm.
a grape. You can do it, but you can ferment it. You can turn it into something that you can drink at home. And if you want to sell it to people, you have to go through certain standards, for health reasons to make sure it's up to par to be able to sell it
Okay.
So why can't we create this plant where, if I can do it with it what I want, like hemp, if I want to grow it for textiles or whatever it may be, or if I want to do CBD, or if I want to do the THC version, and if I want to sell it out, then I should just have to make sure I should have a little microbrewery. So that's just my little kind of political thing. I just think there's people, if Republicans, they act like they want money. They act like they care so much about money. But yet, I look at the Republicans in my state of Wisconsin, and they're just like, no, we can't go as far as anything to do with marijuana. You might have Madison that you can have up to an ounce and it'll just be a ticket. There's certain counties and municipalities where it'll be, less of a crime. But overall in the state, they look down upon it so much. So, Illinois is where it's at right now for a smoker like me.
Okay.
But in Wisconsin, but so
All right.
Hopefully you guys are next.
All right, Spades. I want to ask you the question then. Like you said, there was been a lot of paranoia to the use of marijuana, and a lot of the stuff has been said. Like you guys said, it's a gateway drug. It might turn you crazy. There's all kind of different negative connotations to it. But I guess I want to ask you: do you believe that the legalization of marijuana or weed would change America's behaviors? Would people stop coming to work? Would if they legalize it, would the stock in Taco Bell and McDonald's go up for the munchies?
I look at it this way: whether it's a law or not, people have been smoking for decades, centuries. You know what I mean? So with a law saying, all of a sudden it's legal, that doesn't mean people wasn't smoking before they came to work. 10, 20 years ago, it just was frowned upon. But now that the fact, like I said, that it's legal, I think anything where it's a threat to what's already in place, they're going to throw negativity at it. So the more that they say about how bad it is and the mind is so powerful because if, once you've been taught or just been beat up with the same thoughts or negative thoughts, it kind of comes the truth or becomes what society thinks. So if I'm a pharmaceutical company, I'm going to tell you so much bad about marijuana, so you don't even think about doing it and going to it, and it keeps me in place because I can then feed you this narrative that drugs are okay. We manufacture it when, like Ludmila said, it's just the treatment. It's not. There's no money in the cure. It's just the treatment. So, and as long as they can keep you on and addict you to these drugs, but I think personally, the way that 2020 has been going, what we've been seeing in history, the government has gone so far as to, legalize marijuana, which I thought I would never see in life. But they're so desperate, they're that bad where they need to make money taxing off of it because they figured it out. But there's some states that are passing shrooms and they just letting everything off the board. So I think now it's like we're in a different state of consciousness. I think we're getting to a point in this world where people are just radically thinking, and all the wrongs that have done in the past, they could just see how it's not conducive to way if we're going to survive in this world and this earth and continue, because the things we're doing for money is destroying the earth. You know what I mean? And we have to get back to that natural. So I think it will be a shift, if marijuana is decriminalized, and it might hopefully change the prison system, might change some wealth, for different communities. But I definitely hope by doing so, it makes things better, and it just kind of forces people to wake up and think, but all comes back to money. If we could take down the big pharmaceutical companies and, get back to just natural, like Ludmila said and Tone said, I think this world would be a better place. There's no studies on how bad marijuana is, or, no criminal. They try to come up with all types of things to show how bad, weed is, and they can't find it. So they have to make lies up in order for you to just believe it, because they can't find anything. They just they'll make up anything. And then 20 years later, we were wrong, or that wasn't true. But by then their narrative or whatever they're trying to get through has already been in place. So it won't affect it,
As far as evil goes, let me just throw this in there. As far as evil goes, like it's bankers and pharmaceutical companies. You know, like for real. Like I don't trust them, and I don't want nothing to do with them, and they don't have our best interests at heart. You know,
You're right, man.
That's real.
That's true.
Okay, I want to get Ludmila's input on that same question. I want to ask: Do you see it as that America's behaviors would change if they did legalize weed?
I think so. I think there would be a lot of more calm people around. I think there would be a lot, and I'll give you a brief example of why I say this. I had a situation that happened to me like about 10, 9, 10 years ago, and I had stopped smoking for 7 years prior to that. So I hadn't smoked for a long time. I think that was probably year 2. So in 2011, I had a whole crazy situation. So I had stopped smoking prior to that 2 years. I was not smoking. Had I smoked, I would not have gotten into the situation, and I'm very certain of that because I make jokes about that. Like, damn, if I was high, I probably would be like, oh man, But I do think that I think there would be a lot more calm people. I think parents will be a lot more chill because parents are so uptight about so many things. I'm a parent. We're so uptight about so many things. I think that, of course, especially Illinois is straight taxing on cannabis right now. If you go to a dispensary, like you're not even paying for the marijuana. You just paying the tax because it's like your marijuana is free. So I think that they should. You're paying more for tax than you're paying for like a gram. And again, I'm coming from LA where I can get like weed for
LA is way different.
Yeah, right.
It's the motherland for weed, you know what I mean? So
California, Khalifa, So I think that there would be a lot less first of all, I think the government should get their hands out of the pockets of this. I think like the taxes and all of these things, because you're taxing people for something now that you threw them into jail for, and you criminalize all of these people, but now you're getting paid off of it twice because you're getting paid off of the taxes, but you're also getting paid off of the labor of the people who you have not let go, who are still in prison. So I think legalization should be all across the board, but get out of the pockets of these people. There are so many entrepreneurs, there are growers, there are farmers. These are natural resources. Why are they being taxed for something that comes from the earth? But again, definitely legalize it because you would have so many less problems and issues with people going to other states to getting, cannabis that's legal in other states. If I feel like we could all just join hands, sing Kumbaya if everybody just lit a damn joint,
Well, I mean, not to cut you off, Ludi, as well. I just wanted to interject. I mean, look at other countries that are so progressive that do this. They've legalized it years ago, or all this stuff. They just so ahead. America's the last to do anything. You know what I mean? And these other countries have implemented, like I said, they know their wrongs, that they've seen the truths, so they try to put it back into society. And I'm sure if you look at stats, crime and how society works isn't as bad as they say, and we're still topping that here in America, just in crime and just chaos and things of that nature. So other countries have been doing it for years and it's worked for them. It's just the Western influence of the world, the Western way of life of thinking, gets to other countries, the other side, and they realize it's destructive. So
yeah,
I can definitely see that. If you guys agree at home, we also want to see your comments in the comment section, so feel free to leave your comments as well on that. But until then, I'm going to the next question. I want to go back to you, Tone. I want to ask, okay, so we talk so much about a lot of these benefits of marijuana, but I want to ask you, do you think that there are any medical dangers in smoking marijuana, smoking the reefer?
I mean, I think there probably some with the combustion and the inhaling of smoke, with anything. Um, I'm sure it's better to smoke without a cigar wrapper. It's probably better to smoke joints or out of a bowl or something where it's just that. But even still, just smoking in general is dangerous, and so that's why I think a lot of people they like the gummies. They like you can buy taco seasoning. Infused. I mean, you got people selling blueberry lemonade infused.
The lemon, you know. Yeah.
And so I think it's probably best to do tinctures and stuff that's not smoking it. Probably for me, it's such a habit. It's just what I've been doing for so long. I just continue to smoke, and I'm probably just a little bit addicted to the tobacco that I smoke with the blunt. They got me.
Mm. Okay, I want to go back to Lou Miller and ask the same question. Uh, do you see any medical dangers in smoking reefer?
Well, like Tone said, if anything in excess of anything, it could be dangerous. And then too, if you're smoking out of a tobacco wrapper or anything, I've lost family members to lung cancer from smoking cigarettes. But yeah, I think that the only dangers, would be the tobacco, of course. But yeah, anything like smoking, period. You're inhaling smoke into your lungs, so that is definitely it's not. But they've been doing this for centuries. Like this, if you believe in Jesus, they've been doing this in Jesus times. All right, they've been doing and smoking all type of stuff. For my birthday this year, I had a cannabis infused dinner, and it was so dope. Pun intended for sure. It was amazing. Though we were smoking throughout, we had the food was infused. We did smoke, and we used like we were dabbing, and that was pretty cool too. Like people who had never dabbed were like taking dabs, and it was like a cleaner smoke. So again, if you're smoking, like I'm a smoker. I smoke every day. I smoke. There might be a day and I'm just like but for the most part I smoke every day. But I smoke joints. I smoke out of a bowl. And then if I'm with somebody, my friend who has a dab, like the rig, then I'll, hit the dab. But, there's people who are taking, again, heart, blood, heart medication and all type of other things that are way more dangerous than smoking a joint. So, the only danger, also another danger would be these people don't legalize it nationwide. People will go crazy.
Right, right. That's fair enough. That's what we're talking about here. Uh, Spades, I want to ask you something similar to that question. Uh, with all the dangers that we see right now in the community that we're in with the COVID-19 and everything that's going on around us, with that being said, there's a lot of people passing around. What the song say? Pass it to the left hand side. There's a reggae song. Y'all heard it.
Yeah.
But what with all the dangers of COVID-19, should we be choosing to do anything, smoking anything right now, and harming our lungs? And so, there's a lot of people can't breathe because of COVID-19. Should we be choosing to do anything, smoking anything at this point right now?
It just depends who you deal with. The air that we breathe is polluted. Who knows if that causes anything? People have been smoking, like I said, all types of stuff for centuries. I think COVID-19, until we know more about it, we have so many different sources. I think if it comes from the earth, I don't see why it would hurt it. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where if you have bad lungs or you were in that position of having asthma, prior to COVID-19, it'll be the same thing. Like now, it's nothing different than what you're used to. So I think with this COVID-19, until we get more of an idea, I'm sure some type of smoke probably doesn't help, but who knows? It has weed has healing properties too, so who knows what it can do. And I haven't heard any weed smoker dying from COVID that it was that in the news of lately or that was based on it. So it's just until I find that story, I'm not gonna say it's definitely a danger, but every case is different. Everyone is totally different. So
Okay. Uh, with that being said, I want to go to you, Tone. I want to ask the same question: should smokers be passing that blunt and that joint around at this time? Well, I mean, we're dealing with COVID-19. I don't know if it's screen froze or what's going on.
Yeah, I was like, that's a good one, man. That's a good that pause.
So I froze there for a second.
Okay.
Can you repeat your question?
My question is, with COVID-19 happening right now, should we be passing around that blunt
Yes.
and that or that joint? I mean, is that the thing to do right now?
Right. Really, no, it's not the thing to do. Everybody should be smoking out of their own bag. You know what I'm saying? And they should not be passing it back and forth. However, for some reason, marijuana is such a communal thing. We don't pass around our beer or our drink, but for some reason, or even our cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I guess sometimes people do, but for the most part they don't. But like for some reason with weed, people expect you to just like pass it around. But so
Yeah.
I think it's relatively it's pretty reckless to just be smoking with other people or then smoking with other people who are smoking with other people. I feel like that's how something could easily be spread. And during the pandemic, it's probably just best to smoke. If you want to smoke with people, like smoke it first and pass it to them. If they want to, they can risk it. But I just rather just smoke, my own.
Everyone actually they're starting to do parties now where people have pre-rolls and everyone just as a host, you just have your own pre-roll, your own joint, so you can still be in the same community but you just passing everybody got their own. So that's another thing people are doing as well.
Okay.
And all that smoke is just COVID, in there.
That COVID smoke all
Exactly.
All right. Last but not least, Lou Miller, I'm gonna get your input on that same question. I want to know: is this the time right now to be with COVID-19 happening? Is this the time to be past the Dutch?
So at my party, my party was the week before the mayor of Chicago decided to do the stay at home. So, but we were, my friends and I prior to like my girlfriend and I on our way to the party, she was like, do you think we should be passing joints, around at this party? And I, at that point, this was in March, so I didn't think anything of it. So we really were smoking together. Nobody caught COVID. Like nobody had it. We were smoking together because, like as Tone said, it's a communal thing. It's like a family thing. There's just something about passing the Dutch sheet to the left, and I even in my song I say that, pass it to the left, pass it to the right. But at this time, I prefer to smoke alone. Have my own. I would smoke with someone separately. If that makes sense. I would smoke with someone like in the same room, but if they had their own joint. But I mean, I've smoked with people who I know personally, and we've shared joints and didn't have any, COVID-19 issues, knock on wood. But I would say in large settings, don't do it, and that's just I would say just keep your joint to yourself.
Okay, my follow-up question. My follow-up question to you with that is, do you think the legalization of marijuana could impact the medical community positively or negatively?
I think it could be beneficial. I think it could impact the community in a positive way. Again, with my family being in the medical field, there's so many new studies that can show what, a homeopathic route could do more than like what they're doing now with pushing these drugs. If we were to, I mean, we would definitely, it would damage the pharmaceutical community and people who rely on those kind of drugs to make them feel better. But I think that it would make a huge impact. And I think actually it would probably bring more money into the hospitals and bring more money into the facilities, like people who have mental issues. Because a lot of these drugs too are making some of the issues worse,
Mm.
and if they were to pull back and strip them of those drugs and poisons, because I don't even drink alcohol. It's like it's poison. I stopped drinking alcohol like 6 7 years ago. And if we could start like slowly but surely weaning these people off of that and giving them into a natural thing with marijuana, even like something, like Darnell mentioned, the psilocybin is being legalized in some of these places, in some of these states. If we could again get back to a natural source, the planet would be in such harmony. And I feel like there would be less fighting
Mm.
over things that are so unimportant. So I think bring the weed, more money.
Yeah. Okay. Spades Darnell. Do you think pot should be used medically or recreationally?
Um, now this is just an age-old question. Um, some people say medically, some people say recreationally. It just really, I say both. I mean, who can you tell? Because it just, once you limit it to one, that means the other side is gonna. If you make it medically, then you got to go through the whole medical route, doctors, the messed up Western system that we have. Our healthcare system, especially in America. But it just leaves it open to one specific maybe industry making the money. But we're capitalists, so I mean, having it recreational is opens up a whole new door of a demographic of people as well. So I do believe there should be an age limit. Definitely, just like
Mhm.
alcohol, just like smoking. I don't think 13-year-olds should be smoking it. Because their brain is still developing, and just because it's a plant doesn't mean necessarily it can be beneficial. But I just think it's just more that comes more scientific. You just have to strip it down, or
But
get to certain parts of the plant.
I just wanted to interject with it because I have an issue with that. I think that microdosing in a way, and for children, because they're children who are labeled ADHD,
Right.
or have all
True.
of these hyper things. I think if it's done in a responsible way with
Hmm.
responsible adults who can monitor their intake, I
Hmm.
think that is so important, instead of putting these children on Ritalin or these
Mm.
things, because again my father prescribes these kind of
Hmm.
drugs, and I'm like, give them a blunt or a
Hmm.
joint and have
Right.
them chill the hell out. You know
Right.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I probably should have specified the form. Maybe not
Mhm.
necessarily smoking, but like you said, maybe
Yeah, like
microdosed
in
in
the tea,
an
microdosing
oil, yeah,
teas,
in a
or
different form. Because
yeah,
when you're smoking it or ingesting it, it's going to have a different effect
for sure.
on on your body. So
Okay. Tone, we want to hear your thoughts on this. Uh, should pot be used medically or recreationally?
Um, I think it just varies on the person. Some people may want to use it recreationally, and some people may just like the medicinal benefits that come from it without smoking it. They might just like to take one gummy and like the way it kind of makes them relax, going to sleep, and that might be it. And that might be their medicine. And let that be their medicine instead of
mhm.
anything else.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I feel. I mean, yeah, not everybody's just going to be. Some people is it recreational? I guess if you just want to take a little gummy and watch the games on a Sunday and just kind of feel good all day, it's kind of recreational. It's medicine too. It's stress relief.
Okay. Lou Miller, I guess your last thoughts on that. Should it be used medically or should it just be recreational as well?
I think both. Again, for recreational, just responsibly, use in a really good sense. But there's so many medicinal purposes and uses for it. Again, there are people who have joint pains and people who can't sleep, who have insomnia, or who have, whatever reasons, depression. I would definitely suggest those people who have real medical uses for it to use it. But, as an artist, it helps recreational for me. I
Gets the creative juices flowing.
Yeah, I get these creative juices. I'm editing stuff and I'm tripping out laughing because the shit's funny. And the weed enhances, but it enhances my mood, because I go through so many things as an artist. I go through so many emotions as a woman throughout the day. So I've never been prescribed a prescription for it, but I go grab some, all the time. So I think responsibly, recreationally using, and then again, even responsibly for medicinal purposes, again, for those children who really could benefit from it, instead of going to the doctor and getting just passed a piece of paper. Here's some, I'm just pushing pills to you. I would rather it be used medicinally in a very responsible way with responsible adults. And then same thing recreational. I don't think a regular 13-year-old or 12-year-old should just be out here smoking weed just to be smoking weed, just for, a high. I think that, if they had mental issues that it could benefit them, yes. But again, responsibly.
Most definitely. All right. Well, I want to thank my panel for joining the show today. Once again, I had the homie Spades Darnell. Can you remind the people again where they can find you and what you've been up to again?
Yes. So I'm, multitude of hats. So you can, catch me on IG at inertia_FMM, Mary. We also have a podcast as well on IG, so Connector Podcast, and that's with a K. You can find a couple of our shows. We've been, kind of do the same panel, but talk about issues going on right now. And then also, too, I work with an infused company for treats and drinks and things like that. And it's Chummies_edibles. And you can find us at on IG. So that's CHUMMYS_edibles. You can go in there and check out our products and things that can help you feel better and get in some type of medicine. So,
okay. Well, thank you yet once again for joining the program, Spades. I had the homie Tone from the Beloit area on the line. Tone, once again, remind us where we can find you and what you've been on again, bro.
On Instagram, you can find me at 608 Graphics, GRAFIX. 608graphics.com. If you ever need a custom shirt made for any occasion, hit me up. If you see something online and you say, "Can you make this by Friday?" I can probably do it. So yeah, until then, I really appreciate you having me on here. It's been a pleasure listening to everybody's thoughts and ideas, and maybe I can do it again one day.
Yeah, thank you, Tone, for joining the program. Definitely check out what he has online as far as his shirts and whatnot that he can do. He does some serious graphics. I definitely advise you to go check that out. Also, Lumilla is on the line, one of our artists. Lumilla, can you let the people know again where they can find you?
Yes, I am Ludmila Muse everywhere on Instagram, Ludmila Muse, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, LudmilaMuse.com. You can go on YouTube, search Ludmila Muse, go and check out my new single, my new video for my homies. It's all about weed. The song is all about cannabis, and it is about having fun with your friends, smoking cannabis, especially coming from a woman, because women can be stigmatized so hard for smoking weed. It's just like, but whatever. It's all about weed. It's a fun, cute video. Stream it everywhere for my homies. Dance to it. Party to it, smoke to it, and Ludmila Muse everywhere.
She definitely it was a 2020 version, definitely social distance with the other characters in the video. If you haven't checked it, I highly advise you check that out as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely appreciate the panel for joining the show today, as we also appreciate you for checking in and listening on the program, all the listeners out there. Feel free to check us out, Radio 22, Talk 22, here on Facebook, as well as re-air on Radio 22. You can check that out as well. But until next time, y'all, I'm your boy Mizzle to the Jizzle. You've been listening to Radio 22's Talk 22. Till next time, y'all.
Peace. Thank you, man. All right.
Thank you for having me. Disgusting.